Hello, beautiful mamas. Today, I felt like a bad mother, and I truly want to talk about it. I feel this is something we're not talking enough about it when we feel like we're not living up to the mom we want to be. And stay with me until the end, because I've added some really powerful truth bombs. And no, I didn't feel like I was a bad mother in the sense of yelling and slamming the doors kind of way, but more in the really quiet, tired, and absolute disconnected type of way. Last weekend, I tried to do something that was supposed to feel nourishing for me, which was a weekend away in a small cabin, a weekend in nature, and it kind of completely backfired. And I want to share with you what I learned and what I'm taking away for it. So I'm going to set the scene so you know what I'm talking about. So we had planned these 4 days in a really small cabin in the forest. A place normally when I go there, I feel it's magical because it's in the middle of the forest, surrounded by trees. And it's a place for me to recharge. And I felt like I could need a little bit, time to recharge. And I had it all planned out. Like that I somehow would find place to journal a bit, to meditate. Normally my kids just run outside, so they don't need a lot of entertainment or guidance or whatever. And so I felt like, oh, I'm going to have time for myself and really recharge a little bit, get in touch with myself again. And then kind of so many things went wrong, kind of. It was raining all the time. And then after, I think, 2 days, the rain turned into snow. Hallelujah. I was not prepared for snow, so I didn't bring the clothes. So we were actually way too cold and freezing to be that much outside. So we were stuck in a cabin. It was me and 3 kids. And a cabin isn't made to be inside with 3 small kids. So it was a bit annoying, to say it slightly. Sleep was, for whatever reason, terrible. I was really reminded back into the baby days, where you woke up every couple of hours and had a child who kind of needed attention. So I felt really overtired, and I felt my patience were running thin, and also this disappointment. This was time I had planned to recharge, and I saw it all, and then it just didn't happen. So I felt more depleted at the end of it. And to some extent, I think maybe part of it is to feel guilty that it wasn't exactly how I wanted it to be. So a part of me felt really like failing, like I wasn't enough, I didn't prepare enough. And it turned out that many moments I wasn't the mother I wanted to be for these 4 days. I really I was a more tired version, a more faded version of the bright mother that I wanted to be. So what tools did I use to cope with that situation? For me, it was pretty much radical compassion with myself, remembering and reminding myself that I'm doing the best as I can in that moment. I didn't choose all these small little things that went wrong or that railed us off or that make it hard for me, but I was doing the best that I could, and I was telling myself constantly, and that is enough. I think we're raised so much that we're not good enough and what we're doing is not enough, to just reminding ourselves when things go wrong that actually if we're giving our best at that given time in that circumstances, it is always enough, and it must be enough. Which also means I'm not a bad mama. I'm just a tired one, and I'm just a human. So I'm actually living to my children what it means to be a human. Just to give myself a bit the space and remind myself that even though I might feel like a bad mom right now, in a really bigger picture, it's actually not true. And even as a bad mom, I'm still enough. I think this is something coming up for many, many particular women, I would claim, but probably for everyone. Then Another one, we're going back to that. I think with every episode is breathing. So for me, I actually did step outside, even though it was snowing, even though I was getting wet. I was like going outside and just having a brief, like for 30 seconds, 1 minute, just breathing and looking outside and just still soaking up this beautiful nature that we were actually surrounded by, even cold. And I think I took 2 blankets over me to step outside. And then it was breaking down a whole day into micro moments. It wasn't anymore about the whole day. I was like, what can we do for the next half hour that feels good for everyone? We started drawing, we started playing small games, and we went outside in smaller, not episodes, but for a smaller time. So breaking it down and then thinking and rethinking, and then how it is as a mother, you always need to be on your toes, and hopefully you can come up on the spot with new ideas what to do. And then just to reset the expectations. So I had to literally, and I think that was the hardest part for me, to let go something I envisioned and looked forward to. I had to let go that this isn't the weekend of where I'm gonna recharge. This isn't the weekend where I can connect the way I wanted to with myself. Actually, that I had to just put it down in the garbage, that plan for that time at that day. And had to come up with something else for what it could be to still feel, that it feels good for us. So just to step into this moment by moment, but also choosing connection over control and presence over perfection. So letting go of the control. I couldn't do it. I knew it like after 1.5 days, I knew I wouldn't find the time to journal or to meditate that much. I was too depleted to really even do that type of work. So it was like, okay, let it go. But then this came the big reframe for me. What can we still do to have fun? What still can we do to be connected? And how can we still, laugh together? Pretty much survive the unplanned chaos. Like we were really planning to be all day outside. Now we were stuck inside. And how can we navigate this? And I think this, in a sense, this was motherhood in a nutshell, because how often do things not go after plan? Motherhood is not about getting it right. It's most time about staying in there with the love, the messy, in this messiness, just staying grounded and probably flexible enough. So we had, on the worst days, pretty much we were inside looking in the cabin, and like I said, we were playing small games like XXO. We started making up quizzes, so we kind of asked each other games. We played, like, there was a memory game there. There was actually Chinese checkers. So my 2 oldest ones, they really dove, and it was amazing actually to see their learning curve. Again, I felt a bit like I'm a bad mom, because after 1 game of Chinese checkers, I had enough. But here we are, stuck in a cabin, so why not just enjoy it? And I don't want to know how often we played memories, Chinese checkers, how many pictures we draw on, then back and forth, because we didn't have that much paper, and pretty much just accepted what is. As the weather turned slightly better, we decided we're going to climb a mountain, because I still wanted to get outside, and we love hiking. So we started climbing. I don't know what went wrong this weekend. We didn't find a trail. So we ended up going to a swamp. We got all soaking wet on our shoes and our feet. It started raining up a hill. So when we were on the top, we were all completely wet and done. Luckily, the sun came out for a half an hour on the way down, and the way down turned it all into a really nice experience. And whatever was driving us there up the mountain drove us into the ice cold ocean. So we were just afterwards jumping into the ocean. We had our stand-up board with us, so we were pumping this up. And again, my oldest son, he loves the water, And even though that was his vision for the weekend, to get on that stand-up board. So we had to do that no matter how cold it was. So, I didn't recharge, but I can truly say actually we lived. And also looking back, it didn't always feel like this. We actually had lots and lots of fun. So it turned out completely different. So this is about the weekend. So this is also what I remind you what, when you feel like you're a bad mom, you're enough, always enough. And it's about then letting go of the vision and just taking it step by step. And here, let's start with the soul level truth bombs I have. Number one, I just mentioned it a second ago, is you are enough, even on the hard days, even on the messed up days. You're always enough, enough, enough. And I want to add this a little bit with saying, as crazy as this might sound, but I believe to some extent our kids choose us as their parents to have the experience they need on this planet, to evolve, to step into their purpose, or whatever you might seem to. But I kind of like the idea that our kids, they were stars up there and we were stars, and then we choose the setup how we came into this world. So even on a really bad day, your kids choose you, so they better have to live with who you are. And again, we're back to we're enough. So, and our kids don't choose a perfect mom. They choose us because we love them and we care about them. And the second truth bomb is our kids can handle when we're honest with them. Of course, this needs to be age appropriate. To expect a 1-year-old or 1.5-year-old toddler to understand anything, no, that's not working. But as soon as they're hitting like 3-4 years old, you can set boundaries. You can actually let them know, I need a minute for myself. I need to breathe. Or if we want to do something, give me the space now here for that. So I actually think we can show our kids how we set boundaries so that they can learn it. Something I feel like growing up, something I never properly learned. It was always like, I don't know, the situation with my mother or my parents, everything was fine until it wasn't fine anymore. And there was nothing in between to rather be that honest and say, I need a break. I think it's actually giving your kids a valuable tool. And the last truth bomb is, we always have love available. Always. Connection and love is always there. It's something, I think I picked it up from Gabrielle Bernstein. She has this, I don't know where I picked it up, from one of her books, I think. And she's saying, you can always choose love. And it's something I'm saying in my head a lot. I choose love instead of. I choose love instead of overwhelm. I choose love instead of feeling now annoyed that things don't work out. We have always love inside us and we can always tap into it. Often we need to let go of other stuff to tap into it, but it is there and it is available to us with each single breath. So, how do we finish? If you feel like a bad mom, know you're not alone. We all have been there. Life is sometimes messy and hard and difficult. And remember, you're always enough. You don't need to fix the whole thing. You don't need to fix you. Sometimes it's just to stay in there and let it move through you, so to say. And that's where I'm going to end it. You are enough. And that is enough. So from one wildly rooted mama to another, let's keep growing and glowing together.